people. I hope you guys are doing really well. It has been a great last couple of weeks, so I wanted to share some things with you. First of all, it's really cold right now. I think a lot of you on the east coast of the States are getting that Arctic blast. It got down to 13 degrees Fahrenheit, which I don't know what that is in Celsius, something in the negatives. Which is like, that's January weather for us. It usually doesn't get this cold in November, and it usually doesn't snow in November either. It's usually December or January before we get a good snow. But we had some snow a couple days ago also. It's warming back up, which is fine, but it's just been nice to sit in the house with a toasty fire and have some tea and hang out with the family. The past couple of weeks have been, well, the first of the past couple of weeks was pretty busy. I went out to Columbus, Ohio, to teach at Vogue Knitting Live, which was amazing. I will admit, I was a little nervous. I've done a good bit of teaching, but all of it has been in either like art studios where you can make a mess, or outside where it doesn't matter what gets on the ground. So I was a little nervous because I hadn't seen the location. I knew it was going to be at a conference center, and I was like, I don't want to make a mess and cause trouble. So when I got there, they already knew. I had expressed this concern to them. They had covered everything. All the floors, all the tables, everything was covered. So that if anything got on the ground, we could easily clean it up, which is good. I mean, what I was thinking is it was probably just going to be a lot of plant material, you know, because we were going to be doing eco-printing. But with the natural dyeing, it was possible that we'd get some dye stuff on the floor. So it was nice that everything was covered, but then I was telling my students in the dyeing classes, please don't swing or fling your yarn. You know how some people will swing it around in order to get the extra water off? Because there were white ceilings and white walls. But it was great. It was fabulous, and whenever I needed anything, they helped me figure out how to get it, where to get it from. It was a really lovely experience teaching for them, and it was also an amazing experience meeting all the people that were there and teaching the classes. And just because of what I teach, like, I know with teaching knitting classes, there are times when people just get frustrated and they can't get it. They can't get the stitch, or it's just not coming fast enough, or whatever. And as a teacher, you worry that, you know, that there are students who are frustrated at the end. Whereas teaching natural dyeing and eco-printing, most often the majority of the students are just like, whoa, this is so cool, because you have this finished product with beautiful colors or beautiful prints or something. So I'm lucky to get that at the end of every class, and it was really, really cool. I enjoyed it. Thank you all so much. If you were there, if you came out and said hello, if you took some of the classes, I had so much fun. One silly part of the weekend is Amy Beth, who is the fat squirrel, contacted me and told me she was going to be there, and so I told her it was only for one day, and I said, okay, I've got class in the morning, class in the afternoon, and she had 2 lectures to go to, so we were trying to figure out a time to meet, and I told her where my classroom was. So Saturday morning, I taught my class. I cleaned everything up as quickly as I could, so I had a little time for lunch. And I was kind of in a zombie mode, just, you know, going out of there quietly. There was no one else around, because everybody else was at lunch or in classes. And I start heading down the escalator to take me to the main floor, and I look to the side, and it's like all in slow motion in my head. I look to the side, and there's Amy Beth coming up the escalator going, hey Maria, and I'm like, no, like this slow motion. I'm gonna miss her, like her plane is going the other way, and I'm never gonna see her again if I don't get to her. So I turn around and I start running as fast as I can up the escalator, like I can beat the escalator. And at first I was like, I'm not going anywhere. I'm never going to get to her. So I picked up the pace as much as I could and made it up the escalator so we could meet at the top. Didn't even occur to me that I could have gone down to the bottom and just gone back up to the top. So it was really sweet. I got to give her a big hug and chat with her for a little bit, and that was really nice. It was just hysterical though. Mars was also there teaching Hey Brownberry, which was wonderful because I love doing stuff with her. It just makes everything feel just easier and I don't know, things just flow better. You know, we can chat, bounce ideas off of each other, and she always helps me reframe, her word, reframing things, reframe any worries or whatever that I have. And I also got to meet, finally in person, Natalie of Remembrances Pottery. And she and I have been friends through Instagram for years, and it was one of those things where she came up, I gave her a hug, and then we just kind of chatted like we'd known each other, or hung out with each other for years. Like, I had to remind myself, wait a minute, this is the first time I'm ever meeting you in person. So it's just still weird to me sometimes when that happens, because I mean, I know that the internet's been around for a while, but it's something that Instagram in particular has done for me, that, you know, I've developed friendships with people around the world that I never would have met or known of otherwise. And meeting them in person is just the icing on the cake. So anyway, I had a really great time. But that was like the end of a month and a half, 2-month period of a lot of teaching, a lot of travel, a lot of programs and things that I'd done. So I promised myself when I got home that I would take a weekend off, which I don't usually do. And it's not that I force myself to work. There's just stuff to do and I enjoy it. So if I have some time on Saturday, I'll do some work. So I said, okay, I'm not going to do anything this weekend. And then at the same time, it happened that my husband and son decided they were going to go on a boys' trip with some other friends. And my daughter decided she was going to do sleepovers at a bunch of people's houses. So from Friday to Sunday night, I had no one at the house but me. So I did a bunch of knitting, which I hadn't had a chance to do in a while. I ate a lot of chocolate. And made a bunch of frozen food, like totally took it easy, and I watched a bunch of stupid, sappy romantic comedies and one action film that was also a romance. And it, like, I haven't watched movies in I don't know how long. It was so nice to just put the movie on, sit and knit and chill and make myself tea and just relax for a minute. And, you know, all those romantic comedies, you know they're going to end up sweet and sappy and everybody's going to be happy and the love's going to happen. And so I was just in a good mood. And then I watched another one called Me Before You, romantic comedy, I thought. And I was bawling my eyes out. It was the sweetest movie. It was really good. It has Emilia Clarke, Khaleesi, and Sam Claflin, who I remembered as Finnick Odair from The Hunger Games. So two really good actors, and I don't know, I really liked the movie, but I was not expecting to be bawling, so it was like, but it was really good. So I felt totally refreshed from the weekend, which was wonderful. So other things that have been going on, I've been preparing for a maker's market that I'm going to take part in a couple of days at Ecoview Fiber Mill. They're having an open house and invited a bunch of vendors who do pottery and anything to do with yarn, weavings, knitting, stuff like that. So that's going to be really, really cool. I'm excited to participate in that. And then I'm also preparing for a big pop-up shop that's going on for 3 weeks in downtown Asheville, called the Show and Tell Holiday Pop-Up Shop. And it's really cool. I love the idea. I don't have a storefront, so they have a shop pop up and you can put your stuff there for 3 weeks. It's going to be in the middle of the holiday season, so it's a great way to display my stuff. Which means I've closed the Etsy shop until January 1st. But my plan during some of November and December is to make a few more things to put in the shop so that when I have an opening, I can hopefully have a big opening with lots of new eco-printed stuff and cards and indigo dyed stuff. So yeah, hopefully you guys can look forward to that. But if you're in the Asheville area, I would love to see you at the Makers Market on Saturday, or, you know, go by the pop-up shop if you can. Another cool thing that's happened over the last couple of weeks is that Kaya got her first job, which is super cool. She's working at a great little market downtown. She can walk there from school, and she really likes it. It's like the perfect job for her. She gets to be around people because she's in downtown Asheville, but the little market she's at isn't like constant bombardment of people, so she can people watch. She can have people around. She can help people out when they're in the little market, but it's not like overwhelming. And she's so responsible. Like, she's the perfect person to run a little market and, you know, get things organized and help them figure out the business. So she got her first paycheck this past week, and it was super exciting for her. Toby said, my husband, he said, you realize that you're not 18 yet, and technically any money you make is ours. And she's like, no! Of course she's going to keep it. It's in her own account, but he just keeps teasing her about that, saying, it's ours. We want it. You can pay us and take us out to dinner. But anyway, so what else is going on? Because I did some traveling and had my weekend off, I finally finished a few of these things that I've been working on. This is the Cora Crop by Rachel Brockman. I have not taken any big pictures yet, so I will post them to Instagram once I've gotten out there. It's been too cold to put it on. It's super cute. I used the bamboo, Universal Yarns Bamboo Pop yarn. And let's see, the only changes I made were similar to the ones that Rachel actually made in her personal version, and that was to do an I-cord bind off at the top to give it just a little bit, I don't know, a little bit of a different look. And I think that was it. I don't think I made any other changes. But I love it. It's really cute. It's a perfect little top to wear. I mean, it's a good summer top, but you could also wear it in the winter over a long sleeve shirt. And it was done, you do the front, then the back, and then attach it in the round. No, I'm sorry. You do the front piece and the back piece, and then you seam up the top and the sides, and that is something that I did differently. I did the sleeves in the round. I picked up the sleeves in the round and knit those in the round just because I figured why not. It's just a little sleeve. I also finished my mom's socks. So these were part of the tubes that I had made from a bunch of yarn that I sent off to get made into sock tubes. And then I picked up for the toe and the cuff and added the heel. And my mom loves green, so I wanted to give her these for Christmas, and they do have sparkles, which is awesome. So I don't think there's anything special to tell you about that. I did them the same as I usually do. Oh, the only thing I did do here is on the heel. Let me come closer to show you. So on the heel, I cut in the heel and decided to do a knit one, slip one on one row, and then knit the next row. Knit one, slip one, and then knit the next row as I was forming the heel. And that just gave a little extra squish to it. It made the heel a little bit smaller because of that pulled slip stitch, but it works well, and I think she'll like it. And my last finished object, because I have another one, is the one thing that I knit the whole weekend that I was watching the movies, and it is this, which is the Prado vest by Heidi Karameyer, and I knit it in Prado de Lana yarn in their base called Duende, which I think means like elf or goblin in Spanish, which is totally perfect for leaf. But it's a super soft lamb's wool, so and it's Romney. So it was lovely to knit, but this is going to be so soft and squishy on him. He said he wanted it in white so that we could dye it afterwards. So I'm going to give it to him like this, and then we'll probably dye it up sometime in January. But I really enjoyed this. I'd never knit anything like it. You start like right here with these few stitches, and you build out, putting all the little pieces and parts either on their provisional cast-ons, or you put them on separate needles and then attach them later. So it feels like it goes really fast because you're not just starting up here and knitting down, or starting at the bottom and knitting up the whole piece at once. So it's like first you have the front piece, then you have the back piece, then you have the left piece, and then you attach this, and then you add that. And So it's like all of a sudden I was halfway down the body because I'd do this little section, put that on hold, and do that little section. It just felt really quick, and I loved it. I didn't do anything differently than it called for in the pattern. Leaf is 10 years old. He's a small kid for 10, but I didn't want to knit something that wasn't going to fit him for a while, so I actually knit the size 12, and my gauge was a little small, so this will still give him 4+ inches of positive ease, so he should be able to wear it for a while, but I love it. I want to make myself one too because I think it's a great pattern and it just looks like it would be so warm and cozy. So as soon as I finished that, I did cast on another one, and this is one that I've been knitting for Toby because I wanted him to have one under the tree also. And this is where I've gotten so far. Let's see. Yes. So this was the cast on. Is that right? Yes. So this was the cast on right here, and then I built out and back, and then I picked up and went this way, and so now I am working here. So I'm almost done with the front piece. Is that right? No. It goes like this. So I just picked up at the provisional cast on. So this is the front piece. This will go over the shoulder. This will be part of the back. And I'm going to continue around to create the top. And then I'll pick up and go down. And his whole vest is done in, again, Prado de Lana's Amistad, which means friendship. And it's a marled yarn. Let me show you. It's a really beautiful marled yarn, and I think it will be beautiful just as is, but I'm also going to see if he wants to dye it, because I think this would be really cool with a little bit of fustic and madder, which would make a really cool like yellow gold, and he's a big yellow fan. So I'm hoping to have that done soon. I honestly wasn't thinking that I would get either of these done for the holidays. I just felt like I hadn't had a whole lot of time to knit, and I didn't know that I'd be able to get them finished. And now I'm almost done with everything, which is really cool. So hopefully I can finish this in the next week or two, and then I'm hoping to cast on a sweater for myself. And this one, I'm not sure. I know I've talked about it before. I have the basic design in my mind, but I'm thinking about, as I go, taking detailed notes about my measurements and how it can be adjusted for anyone's measurements. If your backside is bigger than the front and you want to add some space to the back, or if your breasts are much larger, how would you add that? And how, with all your measurements and knowing your gauge, you could easily adjust to make any sweater fit you. So I'm thinking about that. We'll see. That might be something fun. You know, I'm hoping to give myself some time off of work in December, and that would be something fun to create while I'm not in the studio. Maybe just spend some time doing that, so we'll see. Another thing I wanted to do that I was thinking about doing over the next couple of weeks is a couple of spinning tutorials. I've never done any of those before, but I realized that there are some things that I used to do when I first started spinning that I've never seen anyone do a tutorial on. When I first learned how to spin 6 or 7 years ago, I guess, I learned how to spin art yarn. I didn't learn how to spin like a simple fingering weight yarn till a few years later. It was almost all funky art yarn stuff. And so I was thinking about teaching, doing a little tutorial on core spinning, where you have some kind of a core that you spin your yarn onto, which is a lot of fun if you have this cool funky bat with locks or neat pieces of something in, or like textured yarn, to spin it on top of a core. It makes a thicker yarn, but also you can see the stuff that's in the yarn better. And also possibly doing some core spinning over thin metal so you can make bracelets. Hold on a sec, let me grab those and I can show them to you. So here's kind of what I was thinking of. So this is just yellow fiber that I dyed with turmeric, spun over wire, and I put some beads on it. This was a cool bat that had all kinds of stuff in it that I spun on wire. This was, oh, I think they're called like beehives or baubles spun on a metal wire. And then this was also something similar, but I made it bumpy the whole way up. So my thought is it would be a lot of fun to show you guys how to do this. How to do core spinning on wire, and also this kind of like bobble spinning. So I'll work towards that in the next couple of weeks and see if I can do a tutorial for you, because it's a lot of fun, and is something that's a lot of fun to do with pieces of yarn that you have. Like, you don't have to have 4 or 8 ounces to spin a whole skein of yarn. If you've got cool little pieces of bats or little samples that you might have collected, then this is a fun way to create something out of it, other than just this little mini skein that you don't know what to do with. So if you're interested, let me know, but I'm going to try and work on that. I am also going to try to put up some things in D-Stash. I'm probably going to use Instagram, so keep your eyes open if you're on Instagram. I just have a good bit of yarn that is absolutely beautiful. I've always loved it. I loved it when I got it, but I either haven't used it or it has superwash nylon in it, and I'm just not knitting with that anymore. It might be extremely beautiful, but I'm just not called to use it anymore. And so I know that there are many people out there who would love it. So I'm going to try and put that up in D-Stash soon on Instagram. I'll probably just create a D-Stash account maybe in the next couple of weeks. So I'll let you know. The last thing I wanted to show you is that I got my 2020 Slate Home Folk Art calendar. I got one of these last year and showed it to you, and I really enjoyed it. And this year she has even more fiber artsy stuff in it. So I'm going to come closer and show you. So this is January. It's a little spinner, contented spinner, it says. I got this on Etsy. Here's February, the family painting the dollar horse. Let's see. We've got the summer cottage garden in May. I think, let's see. Oh, here's October. Sitting on the porch reading a book with the quilt. There's Grandma quilting in September. Here's Delphina Rose in August. There's just so many really beautiful pictures in here. She's an amazing artist, and it just feels kind of like a peaceful, calming calendar. There's quotes from Laura Ingalls Wilder. There's all the holidays on here. Audrey Hepburn quotes, William Blake quotes. So if you're interested, she's on Etsy as Slate Home Folk Art, and I'll have a link in my show notes. But I know some people really enjoy their yearly calendars and get excited about getting those, so I just want to share that with you. And I think that's it. I am hoping over the next couple of weeks to finish up in the garden. There are a number of things that I still have to harvest, but I've just been too busy to do it. I started trying to harvest the madder root. I have a big madder root bed that's like 5 or 6 years old, and I just haven't harvested it. And I got a little corner of it, and then it got really hot, because before it got to 13 degrees a couple days ago, it was like 70 degrees outside. So I did a little bit of it, and I've got that drying, and then I went back out to do it, and the bees were buzzing. So the beehives are maybe 10 feet from this bed, and depending on the day and the time, sometimes they get a little cranky if I'm too close. So it needs to be a semi-cool day when they're not as active, but I'm hoping I can get to that before the ground freezes. Otherwise, I'll just get them in the spring. But there's lots of other things to harvest and put away for the winter and take care of the garden, so that can all go to sleep, which always feels good when that's done. And then it feels like it's time to go inside, close the doors, and just be inside for the winter. Anyway, I hope you guys are doing well. Have a fantastic Thanksgiving if you celebrate, and hopefully I will see you in a couple of weeks. Love you guys.